In the lane, snow is glistening, a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is the new bird, to sing a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no man, but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire, to face unafraid the plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland. Ho! Build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no man, but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire, to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland, walking in a winter wonderland, walking in a winter wonderland.
Light up the tree with joy and magic. Let the love shine through. Let it banish the tragic. Love keeps the world bright, making joy on Christmas night. I dream in vibrant colors, dreams made brand new. People dream bright.
place like home for the holidays. But no matter how far away you roam, when you fight for the sunshine of a friendly day, for the holidays you can be home sweet home.
Man who lives in Tennessee, and he was heading for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore. From Atlantic to Pacific,
Gee, traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays. 'Cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, oh, there's no place like home for the holidays. When you fight for the sunshine of a friendly day.
I met a man who lives in Tennessee, and he was heading for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore.
From Atlantic to Pacific,
Gee, the traffic is terrific.
oh, there's no place like home for the holidays. 'Cause no matter how far away you roam,
If you want to be happy in a million ways,
for the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home.
The reindeer came to town to cause a lot of trouble. Santa said, calm down, don't burst the joyful bubble. Christmas is for laughter and delight. Not for reindeer ruining the night. That reindeer was naughty as can be. He took the presents, he toppled the tree. Christmas is for laughter and delight, not for reindeer ruining the night. Santa was unhappy, so he sat that reindeer down. Don't you ruin Christmas, don't make the world frown. Christmas is for laughter and delight, not for reindeer ruining the night. The reindeer felt sorry and sad for what he'd done. He almost ruined Christmas, he almost wrecked the fun. Christmas is for laughter and delight, so the reindeer made it right.
Daisy Lake,
Daddy?
what would you like Santa Claus to bring you this Christmas?
And outdoors.
I want Santa to bring me some CDs, DVDs, puzzle games, and some video games, and some new clothes, and all kinds of stuff.
I want Santa to bring me some candy.
Star Wars games.
Want Santa with my family.
I want Santa to bring me video games and books.
I want to get NBA 2K23.
I want a video game of the voice, a PlayStation 4, a new iPad Pro.
Be love with my family and friends for Christmas.
Santa gonna give me a new phone, a new purse, a new makeup, a new everything for Christmas.
I want Santa to bring me a new iPad.
I want Santa to bring me happiness and laughter.
I want a lot of makeups.
I want Santa to bring me another drawing book so I can stay creative.
Santa Claus gave me more. And you make a dogs.
Just clothes and bring me and my family like together.
I want Santa to bring me a box of chocolates. And my kitty just wants the box.
Is peace, joy, and love.
Elvis. Oot.
I want Santa to bring us even closer in unity now that the studio is opening up, and just give me more courage and guidance to always do the right thing and to become and to stay loving and serene, and just spreading the peace and joy with everyone around us. That's my wish this Christmas.
I want Santa to bring me Miley Cyrus.
I want Santa to bring me for lyrics, write songs. Me Pascal.
I want Santa to bring me some new white Eastern batting gloves and the new Spider-Man webbing.
I need to bring me DVDs, books, and clothes.
Santa Claus toy box for all the kids.
I love Christmas. I love holidays. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Christmas is not the same without friends and family, because that's the true meaning of Christmas, is just being together with someone.
My God, it's very unpleasant. Oh boy, that will keep us, have him in for Christmas to be right with us on Christmas.
Christmas is a time of giving. Christmas is a time of living. Christmas is a time for all men and women to come together.
Memories. Putting up the trees, hanging up Christmas bowls and lights, waking up Christmas Day with all the presents under the trees. Big dinner with my family, helping make dinner with my mother and my grandmother.
My mom, my grandma, came my brother and sister.
Life without Christmas. Christmas is a year where we are all gather as one. This is a year where we share, acknowledge what we are as a human being to one and another, for our friends, family, and our amazing pets. And be grateful and not throw it all away.
I want to tell the whole world to be happy and I love them.
Really, the point is Christmas, you had to be
not thinking about gifts. It's not about what gifts you want. It's about gathering with all people you love.
I would like to tell the world to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
When was the last time you genuinely cared to ask how another is doing? How did your response reflect that you listened and cared for the person? There is great repression of emotions in today's world. There are souls never unlocking expression, trapped, conforming to societal and/or generational expectations. Growing, forever learning is how we can best allow ourselves to be supported and support others. To be present, mindful of our words, is powerful. Words and how they are expressed have energy. Our emotions are attached to this energy. It is a privilege to speak. So please honor the power of speech, for it has evolved mankind.
What I want to give is the gift of constant love.
For my Pistol speech, I would say, I love Lindsay. She's my favorite dance teacher all time. Love her. 2, Pascal is funny as well as his hat. 3, I love my people. Make them laugh, having fun together. PSW, and I love David.
Some mornings I used to come in at 7 o'clock, and it only be me and John. Them days, it was very special for me.
The reason why I like Performing Arts Studio West because they teach me about acting.
Needed Pascal, thank you.
Performing Arts Studio West is my family too.
And I want to thank Lindsay, Pascal for letting me be in this VOD. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here.
I love you guys.
Performing Arts Studio West is my second family.
And everybody being nice people to me.
Full of joy and whimsy, Christmas is a special time because you are with me.
The story I'm about to tell you is true. Well, most of it's true, except for the parts that are totally made up. Sometimes my brain gets scrambled just trying to get through everyday life. And although this improbable series of events happened in just the past few days, it somehow seems like it was years ago. Strange, isn't it? Oh, did I mention today is Christmas Day? Yep, Saturday, December 25th, 1948, Los Angeles, California. That's the first true part of the story. And being that today is Christmas Day, that obviously makes last night Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, which coincidentally also happens to be the name of the doll that's wrapped up inside this little gift of a story. Eve, that is, Eve Holiday. And a more beautiful woman I guarantee you've never met. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back a few days. My name is Boyle, Archie Boyle. I'm a private investigator here in the City of Angels. It's Wednesday, December 22nd. Business has been slow as we approach Christmas. I don't know if it's the holiday spirit, goodwill toward men and all that, but what's good for mankind in general isn't necessarily good for my so-called bank account, which is barely hanging on for dear life. So with no small amount of guilt, I'm praying that the phone will ring with a case to sink my teeth into before the year comes to an end. And what do you know? As in most tales of this kind, there's a catalyst that kicks things off. And that catalyst is a knock on my office door. My secretary, Penny Candy, pops her pretty head in.
Archie, the switchboard downstairs just called. They have a Detective Stone from LAPD robbery homicide on the line. Do you want me to have them put the call through?
Mike Stone? That son of a Abel Grable hates my guts. Until he needs my help, that is.
Do you want to take the call or not?
My instincts say no. But my empty bucket is screaming no clams, so yeah, haven't put it through.
Swell. It might be nice to get paid before Christmas.
Oh, Penny.
Yeah?
You look killer diller today.
Lay off, Archie, and put those peepers back in your noggin, will ya?
Okay, boss. Boyle.
Boyle, it's Detective Stone over at Robbery Homicide.
I know, my secretary warned me.
I hate to say this, but we could use your help on a case.
Sorry, Stone. I'm busy as all get out. I got a date with the baby Jesus coming up in a few days.
Still cracking wise, huh? Too bad. We got someone who is very interested in having this matter solved ASAP, and that someone has no lack of resources.
Now you're singing my kind of tune, pal.
I'm not your pal, Boyle. And if I didn't want to wrap this case up pronto, I wouldn't even have picked up the phone. Frankly, I need a louse like you to get under the skin of what might be some pretty unsavory characters. Get down to the station and I'll fill you in.
I told him I'd expect cookies, milk, and a pat on the head when I arrive.
Go to hell.
Keep the brimstone burning. I'm on my way. Penny, hold down the fort until I get back.
Sure. I'll let you know if we're attacked by a war party coming to repossess the furniture.
After a trip downtown to talk to Detective Stone, I learned that a local nightclub singer, Eve Holiday, had disappeared. She was reported missing by her boss, a fellow by the name of Joe Caparazzo, who owns a place on the strip called the Fluff Club. Stone gave me a photo of her, a real knockout. Eve hadn't shown up to work for 2 nights. No one could get a hold of her by phone, and the doorman, Donnie, at her apartment building also hadn't seen her for a couple of days. Donnie had let detectives into her place, and a quick look around didn't reveal much. No signs of a struggle or a robbery, but also no sign that she had packed up and left the place. I definitely had some work to do. I decided to start the Fluff Club. I headed over to talk with the owner.
How am I supposed to know what happened to her? I'm her boss, not her nanny.
Take it easy. I'm here to help, not accuse.
I already had a couple of detectives out here yesterday asking me a boatload of questions. They didn't look so bright.
Yeah, well, I'm not LAPD. I have my own way of doing things.
Good. a man of action. Every night Eve's not here, I'm losing money.
It would be helpful if you give me the names of any close friends of Eve, men she knew, places she frequented when she wasn't working, that sort of thing.
Like I said, I'm her boss, not her nanny.
Do you have any enemies that you know of?
Who doesn't have enemies?
I drove over to Eve's apartment building on Wilshire to have a talk with the doorman, Donnie. Apparently, he was the last person who had seen her. Pretty swanky place.
Like I told the detectives, Mr. Boyle. The last time I saw Miss Holliday was 2 days ago, early afternoon. She asked me to hail her a cab. She said she was going to meet a friend for lunch in Chinatown. I didn't think anything of it until a regular cabbie who comes to pick her up at 7 every night to take her to the club showed up. I called up to Miss Holliday's apartment and she didn't answer.
Did she say who she was meeting for lunch?
If she was going to Chinatown, I'm guessing it was her friend, May Sun. She's a performer at a place called the Middle Kingdom. A lot of the girls from the local clubs know each other. Sheepers. I hope she's okay. She's a nice kid.
Sometimes it's the nice ones that get into the worst kind of trouble, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that wicked witch was a real pain in the ass.
It would be a few hours before May's son would arrive at the Middle Kingdom, so I went back to my office to regroup and make some calls. There were a lot of people I had to talk to, and I knew I would need some help. If it were true that Joe Caparazzo had deep pockets, I didn't mind sharing the spoils with a friend. I called up another PI, Antoine Penniman. We'd met here in LA right after the war. Any calls while I was out?
Yes, Queen Elizabeth called. She said her corgi ran away.
He's probably sick of black pudding and pork pie. Can you get Antoine Penniman on the phone for me?
As long as I can flirt with him for a minute. He is one dreamy PI.
What am I, chopped liver?
No, more like haggis.
Haggis?
More bad UK food. It's the liver, heart, and lungs of a sheep.
Now that sounds dreamy.
Antoine Penniman.
Ace, it's Archie Boyle. You got any time on your hands?
For you, Arch? Always. What's on your mind, besides your secretary, that is?
I filled Antoine in on the details of the case. I knew he was connected to the LA nightlife scene and was dating a performer at the Lowdown Jazz Club. He would definitely be an asset. Donnie the doorman said that a lot of the girls from the local clubs know each other. So Antoine could poke around at the Lowdown while I was at the Middle Kingdom. In the meantime, I headed back out to a place where I was pretty sure I'd find a fella who goes by the name 13. He's what's known as an ear. Someone who overhears the talk on the street and then tells the authorities. In this case, yours truly. We call him 13 because his involvement in some fathead's business usually results in them having a bit of bad luck. I found him at his regular spot. 13, what's doing?
Dr. Archibald, Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 my favorite gringo. What do you know?
I know you can make my Christmas a lot brighter if you can find out a few things for me.
That depends if I'm on your gift list. I've been good all year.
You're on my list, all right. You know the Fluff Club up on Sunset?
Sure.
I want to know more about the owner, Joe Caparazzo. I need to know if he has any enemies. It's important to a case I'm on. Find out where he gets his hair cut, his suits pressed, his shoes shined, if he hangs out in any bars or men's clubs when he's not at his own place, and his favorite color.
I can handle that. Maybe back here tomorrow, same time. I ought to have the dope for you by then.
I'm not looking to buy dope.
I mean information, not drugs.
I knew that.
Yeah, sure. Let me know if you change your mind.
About the info or the drugs?
What do you want to know this guy's favorite color?
Maybe I want to buy him a necktie.
Is that supposed to mean something?
It was time to head over to the Middle Kingdom to have a chat with May's son to see if she ever met up with Eve Holliday that day before she disappeared.
Missing? Eve is missing. We just met for lunch 2 days ago.
Was there anything strange about her behavior? Was she nervous? On edge? Did she keep plugging the jukebox to play Polish polka music?
No, she was just regular Eve. Damn, I love that girl. If I hear from her, I'll let you know. But if I find out who is responsible for her disappearance, he might be a landowner before you get your hands on him.
Landowner?
At Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Okay. Don't go all Dragon Lady on me. And don't try to take the law into your own hands. We don't need another beautiful nightclub singer missing, or dead, or going into women's wrestling.
That's all phony baloney, you know.
I love bologna, especially fried.
Crazy white private dick.
Sure, baby. I know Eve. Real good kid. Sort of innocent, though. Always reminded me of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Sometimes it's the innocent ones that get into the worst kind of trouble.
Yeah, that wicked witch was a first-class bitch.
You know of anyone who may have wanted to harm her, put a scare into her, take her to the races and make her run around the track?
No, everyone loves Eve. Some people maybe too much.
You got something to tell, baby? Tell it.
You know that club called the Bounce Lounge?
Sure. Say, do you know where Eve gets her hair done?
Why?
Maybe I want to give her a coupon for half off on the permanent wave.
Antoine and I had arranged to talk on the phone after we hit our respective clubs. My phone booth was on the corner of Hollywood and Cahuenga. His was on Hollywood and Wilcox. I don't know why we both just couldn't walk half a block and talk face to face. Ace, Archie,
Antoine.
What's the lowdown at the lowdown?
You go first. How did it go at the Middle Kingdom? And start at the beginning, not the middle.
I'm beginning to think that things at the middle might wind up providing some interesting information in the end.
So you're poking around over there. Good. Where are you? Middle? End? Beginning?
Middle, I think. That May's son is one tough fortune cookie. She did meet up with Eve for lunch that day she disappeared. Nothing odd about their get-together. But she said if she finds out who may have done something to Eve, that person might be pushing up daisies before we can get to him. Or her. What did Anita have to say?
She thought we should check around at the Bounce Lounge. Oh, and I found out where Eve gets her hair done. Peaky's Beauty Salon on Western. Could be some answers there. You know how females love to talk. Want me to head over?
Probably better if I send Penny. I'll treat her to a wash and set. If there's anything to find out there, she'll find it.
Copy. Anything else you need me to do right now?
Yeah, I was going to meet up with 13 tomorrow, but maybe he's got something by now. You know his corner, right?
Of course, right across from the best Mexican food place in town.
Can you stop in there as well?
Why?
Maybe I want to know how many tortillas it would take to cover all the hand and footprints at Grauman's Chinese Theater. I headed back to my office. I wanted to let Penny know about Pinky's salon tomorrow, then let her go home for the night. In the meantime, Antoine headed over to see if 13 found out anything useful.
Dr. Antoine, haven't seen you for some time. What's cooking?
Why do you call everybody doctor?
It's easier than saying osteopathic neuromusculoskeletal specialist.
Boy wants to know if you found out anything about Joe Capuaso.
Sure. I didn't really need 24 hours for that. I just padded that time frame a bit so I could have a little boom boom with Minovia.
So, what do you got?
Besides a bad rash? I'm kidding, but cool. He gets his suits pressed at Leo's on Hollywood Boulevard, his shoes shine at Billy's on Cahuenga. He grabs a drink regularly at the Frolic Room and has a workout and rub down at Big Tenny's twice a week. And his favorite color is Faloo.
What the hell is Faloo?
Faloo is a dark rich red, named for the Falun copper mines in Sweden. I thought everybody knew that.
I did. I was just seeing if you did. Let me ask you this, genius. Do you know how many tortillas it would take to cover all the hand and footprints at Grauman's Chinese Theater?
26,412. Only a baby doesn't know that.
Can you write that down on this matchbook for me? Did you find out where Caporazzo gets his haircut?
Jackson's Barbershop in Inglewood.
That's where I get my haircut.
Hey, doctor. I was messing with you about the tortillas. It's actually 26,413. Merry Christmas.
The next morning, Penny headed over to Pinky's salon for a wash and set, and to see if she could find out anything that would help me locate Eve Holiday.
Sure, Eve comes in once a week. Who wants to know?
I work for a private investigator. Archie Boyle.
A PI? Is a kid in some kind of trouble?
That's what we're trying to find out. She's been missing for a couple of days. When was the last time she was in here?
Last week. The studying appointment would have been tomorrow.
How was she when you saw her? Did she seem to be in any kind of distress? Was she overly giddy? Did she go on and on about flocked versus unflocked Christmas trees?
No, nothing like that. She was just her usual sweet self.
Sometimes it's the sweet ones that can get into the worst kind of trouble. Like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, the Wicked Witch was a real moldy green turd on a stick.
So you'll keep your ears open for me?
Of course. But if I find out who's responsible for her disappearance, he might wind up getting his dome dipped into a vat of ammonia and formaldehyde before you get your hands on him.
Better just let me know. Who knows, it might be a woman. Here's Archie's card. The cops will make sure he or she gets what's coming to them. So, have you seen The Adventures of Don Juan yet?
3 times. That elf Flynn is the dreamiest.
I'll say, it's hard not to go gaga over a guy in tights and boots.
Merry Christmas, Antoine. Yes, Joe Caprazzo is here once a week. He likes to look his best at all times.
What kind of fella is he?
A little rough around the edges.
Rough enough to make bad things happen to good people?
Bad things happen to bad people, maybe. Not so sure about the other way around.
Do you know if he has any enemies?
In his line of business, I would assume so. Some pretty rough customers associated with the clubs.
Yeah, I'm all too aware of that fact. He ever mention any names of people he didn't jive with?
He was always griping about a fella named Milligan. Mike Milligan. I cut his hair a few times. They call him earlobes. Makes it tough to trim his sideburns. They always look too short.
Yeah, he's the owner of the Bounce Lounge. He's on our list of people we need to talk to. Thanks, Colin. Merry Christmas. Say hello to the wife for me.
Will do. Good luck with Milligan. Put your hat on now. It's getting cool outside. Antoine, do you want to take my straight razor?
Let me think about that. I'm going to take a quick walk and think about it. No, wait. I got this. I don't need it. Wait. Shit. I'll take it. No, wait. Shit. I'll...
How about I keep it? I don't want you to hurt yourself. Good luck, Antoine. Merry Christmas.
It wouldn't be until later that afternoon before Antoine would head over to the Bounce Lounge to talk to Milligan. So I decided to speak with some of the people that 13 found who seek Joe Caparazzo on the regular. His denial about knowing what happened to Eve didn't set quite right with me. I headed over to Billy's Shoe Shine on Cahuenga.
Mr. Caparazzo's here every couple of days. He's one of my best customers. The shine is 50 cents, but he'll tip me $2.
Very generous.
I'll say.
Does he talk much while he's here?
About what?
Life, women, business?
I run a shine stand. I ain't no psychiatrist, and I certainly ain't no priest.
Did he ever mention an Eve Holiday?
Well, sure. She's his headliner. She brings in the customers. The customers drink. The club makes money. Everybody's happy.
I'm not so sure that Eve was happy, or someone wasn't happy with her.
Why is that?
She disappeared a few days ago.
Gee whiz, that's a shame. From what Mr. Caparazzo says, she's a real beauty. Innocent, but kind of mixed up.
Mixed up?
In the head. He says she's always in some kind of jam. Like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Always trying to dodge flying monkeys, eh?
Well, I ain't no wildlife biologist, but I do know if Mr. Caparazzo finds out who's behind this girl's disappearance before the cops do, there just might be one less bear hanging around the back door at the barn dance on Saturday night. But you didn't hear it from me.
Thanks, Billy.
Hey, that's the 5. I didn't even shine your shoes.
Next time. Merry Christmas. I decided to drop by the Frolic Room before heading over to the Bounce Lounge to talk to Milligan. Sometimes bartenders know a lot about their regulars.
What'll it be?
Scotch. Neat.
You got it.
Thanks. Say, you know a fellow by the name of Joe Caparazzo?
That all depends.
On what?
On who you are.
Archie Boyle. I'm a private investigator.
Wow. Just like in the movies.
A girl who sings at Caparazzo's nightclub disappeared a couple days ago.
So, what's it to me?
Say, I don't care for your attitude, buddy. We're talking about a missing girl here.
How do you know my name?
I didn't. I was just saying buddy like pal or fella.
Why don't you just finish your drink and take a hike?
Listen, buddy, old pal. You seem like a decent fella. I think we got off on the wrong foot. And it's Christmas time, so I'm trying to be nice. I reached for my billfold to pay for the drink. In doing so, the bartender caught a glimpse of my cult detective special. We can do this one of 2 ways. Buddy.
What do you want to know?
Anything you can tell me about Caparazzo. When he comes in, is he alone? Is he ever with another guy? Or with a woman? What do they talk about? Whose names are battered around?
Which one of those questions do you want me to answer first?
Listen, wise guy. Don't make me reach into my jacket again. My billfold is already on the bar. Buddy proceeded to tell me that Joe Caparazzo comes in 2 or 3 times a week. He's seen him with men, beautiful women, dandies, tough guys, and one of those tough guys happened to be Mike Earlobes Milligan. And one of those beautiful women was Eve Holiday. Were they at each other's throats?
No, they seemed all palsy-walsy.
Are you sure?
That's how it seemed.
Did they keep plugging the jukebox to play holiday favorites by the Calabre and Castrati Christmas Choir?
A couple of times, yeah.
I figured as much. Merry Christmas. It was time to head over to the Bounce Lounge and have a talk with Earlobes Milligan. Antoine and I had planned to meet there at 3. We figured Milligan would be in his office by then. I'm glad Antoine was coming. There's safety in numbers.
Of course I heard about Eve missing. I got ears, don't I?
I had to try real hard not to laugh.
You fellas got about 5 minutes. I don't like cops and I like PIs even less.
What's your relationship with Miss Holiday?
She's friendly with some of the girls here. Good kid. She calls me Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike? How friendly is she with you?
I ought to bust your head open for asking me a question like that.
Take it easy. We're just trying to understand things here.
Yeah? Well, now you got 4 minutes. And watch yourselves. I'm a little light on Christmas spirit today. I'm always watching out for Eve. See, she's a real innocent, you know? Like,
Yeah, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, so we've heard.
Actually, I was going to say like a little white bunny rabbit sitting in a yellow basket with a pink ribbon on it, but yeah, I can see the Dorothy thing too. Anyway, I keep trying to convince Eve to quit the Fluff Club and come work for me. I don't like the way Joe Caparazzo treats her. He doesn't care about his girls. God, I can't stand that fat bastard.
When was the last time you saw Miss Holiday?
A couple of nights ago. She wanted to meet at the Frolic Room for a quick drink. When I got there, I was surprised to see that Caparazzo was with her.
What do you make of that?
Now, she had some crazy idea of bringing me and him together and brokering some kind of truce. She knows if either one of us saw the other guy laying face down on the sidewalk, we just step right over him. That's what I mean by innocent, you know. Everybody ought to get along in her book. Well, life ain't like that.
The bartender at the Frolic Room told me that it looked like everything was fine and dandy between you two.
No, we was just playing nice for Eve's sake. As soon as we put her in a cab to go home, we just about killed each other.
What do you mean?
Caparazzo told me to stay out of his and Eve's business. I told him if he gave a damn about her, I wouldn't have to keep such a watchful eye out. It's a tough town, you know. He said, I'm her boss, not her nanny. I told him I could convert him to nanny material with very little effort. That's when the punches started flying.
He said the same thing to me, but I didn't think of the clever cutting off his nuts retort. What happened then?
The bouncer came out and broke things up. After that, we both took off. I called Eve when I got home and told her again that she should quit the Fluff Club and come work for me. I said the place could use a class act like her. I also told her that Caprazzo didn't give a damn about her, and I wouldn't want her to be around the club in case he happened to have an accident.
What kind of accident?
Sorry, fellas. Your 5 minutes is up.
I felt like we were getting nowhere fast. This is what we knew so far. Caprazzo is a heartless slob who hates Milligan's guts and looks at Eve solely as a commodity. Milligan is a tough guy with a soft spot for Eve who wants her to sing at his club and would put the hurt on anyone that messes with her, especially Caprazzo. Donnie the doorman saw Eve every day up until the time that she went missing. May's son was the last person to see Eve before she disappeared and has no problem arranging to bury anyone who wanted to harm her good friend. Eve's hairdresser, Pinky, would have no problem drowning some goon in a vat of toxic chemicals. Colin the barber knows more than one way to use a straight razor. Billy the shoeshine gal is just that, a shoeshine gal. She isn't a psychiatrist, a priest, or a wildlife biologist. Could have fooled me. Buddy the bartender was reluctant to talk until he saw my gun. And just about all of us had seen The Wizard of Oz. Oh, and 13 is some kind of crazy genius when it comes to square footage and tortillas. I went back to my office to check in with Detective Stone at LAPD robbery homicide. It was the last thing I wanted to do when I had nothing at this point. Penny, can you get Detective Stone on the line for me? Wow, your hair looks terrific. You look like a real movie star.
Yeah, sure. I'm having dinner tonight with Robert Mitchum.
He can't resist you either, huh?
I guess the two of you will just have to arm wrestle over me. I'll get Stone for you. I have Detective Stone on the line.
Thanks. Stone, it's Boyle.
I know, your secretary warned me. What do you have for me?
I gave him the rundown. He wasn't happy.
For Christ's sake, Boyle. Maybe I should have called the Hardy Boys. They had no problem finding Chet Morton and Biff Cooper in their book, The Missing Chums. Or maybe Nancy Drew is more your speed.
Funny. You know, I haven't bumped into any of your men while I've been running my tail off all over town. And don't use the Lord's name in vain. I told you, me and the baby Jesus are pals.
Take it easy. Just remember, Boyle, I want this wrapped up before Christmas.
I know, I'm on it. I have a few more people I need to talk to get the answers I need. I'll find your girl. And if you're real nice, I might even ask her to sing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas for you.
Just find her.
I headed back over to the Fluff Club. I wanted to get Joe Caprazzo's version of the night he, Eve, and Milligan met at the Frolic Room. It wasn't dinner or showtime yet, but the bar was open. So I checked my hat and went to the bar to have a drink.
What can I get you, sir?
Sir? Very nice. Scotch, please, neat. Thanks. Say, is Mr. Caprazzo in yet?
Who wants to know?
My name is Archie Boyle. Joe and I met here a few days ago. I'm a private investigator working with LAPD and trying to find out what happened to Eve Holiday.
Ah, Eve. Great girl. Beautiful, talented, sweet. Have you ever heard her sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
Can't say that I have.
Just as beautiful as in the...
What's your name, fella?
It's Harry.
Nice to make your acquaintance, Harry. How are you all holding up with Eve missing and everything?
It's scary, to be honest.
I bet.
Is she alive? Is she dead? Is someone holding her hostage, forcing her to watch bootleg reels of Betty Boop cartoons? Doesn't Betty Boop give you the creeps?
Addressing his question about a hostage situation, no one had received any type of ransom demands up to this point. Not yet, that is. And yeah, Betty Boop gives me the willies. We're looking at all those scenarios. I decided to push a bit harder. See if I could squeeze a little ink out of this squid. Forget that. I don't even know what that means. And how's Mr. Caprazzo doing? He must care deeply about his star performer.
Mr. Caprazzo is a businessman. He's worried about business slowing down. Nobody brings them in like Miss Holiday.
So there's no show at night?
We have a fill-in singer until Eve comes back, God willing, but she's no Eve Holiday, I'll tell you that much. Yes, sir. Yes, it's Mr. Boyle, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Caprazzo came in the back way. He heard us talking. He'll see you in his office. Your drink is on the house.
Thanks, Harry.
Come in. Come in, Boyle. What do you got for me?
We're still talking with people and putting the pieces together. What can you tell me about the night that you, Eve, and Milligan met at the Frolic Room?
A recipe for disaster is what that was.
Caparazzo's version of the events of that night is not dissimilar to what Milligan had told me.
Listen, Boyle, I don't like Milligan. I don't like his club. It ain't classy. And I don't like him involved in any way with Eve. He's way too friendly with his girls.
Maybe he just cares.
Get out of here.
I hear you have a new singer. Who is she?
You wouldn't know her.
Try me.
You wouldn't know her.
Try me.
Doris Capito.
You're right, I don't know her.
I told you.
Where'd she come from?
I picked her out of Bullock's department store display window. How the hell do I know where she came from?
Maybe ask her?
I ain't interested.
I'll call you when I got something.
Boyle.
Yeah?
Remember, there's a generous monetary compensation if you find Eve. I promise. You'll be very happy.
I'm counting on it. I walked back through the bar and over to the coat check room. I gave the girl my ticket.
Thank you, sir.
She retrieved my hat. I gave her a decent tip. Then I noticed her name tag. Doris. Thanks. Doris, is it?
Yes, sir.
So what does a young lady like yourself do when she's not trapped in a closet with various and sundry outerwear?
I sing.
Where could I hear you sing if I was so inclined?
Right here. For now, that is.
You're Doris Capito, right?
That's right.
Harry the bartender told me about you. He said you were filling in for Eve Holiday while she's out. How long have you been singing, Doris?
Since I was a kid. But I'll tell you, it's not easy getting a regular gig in this town. The whole club scene is pretty much locked up tight when it comes to female talent.
So it's kind of a lucky break for you that Eve's been missing for a few days. Suddenly, Doris Capito looked a little flustered.
I'm sorry, sir, I have to go. Pochette closes after lunch and before dinner when the other girl comes in.
You don't happen to know anything about Eve's disappearance, do you? My name is Boyle. I'm a PI working with...
I'm sorry, Mr. Boyle, I have to go.
Doris closed up the coat room and headed toward the front of the club. Her behavior struck me as odd. As I was leaving, I saw her in the phone booth inside, near the front door. She didn't look up as I walked by. I might have to find out more about Miss Capito. I went out onto the street and stopped at a newsstand to pick up a paper. I've been so wrapped up in the investigation for the past few days, I had no idea what else was going on in the world, except for the baby Jesus' birthday was right around the corner. Apparently, Stan Musial of the St. Louis Cardinals have been named the National League MVP. The Cleveland Browns beat the Buffalo Bills 49-7 in the AAFC Championship game. And a new Cole Porter musical, Kiss Me Kate, was getting ready to open on Broadway. That Cole Porter sure has a way with lyrics. How about those Browns?
Yeah, they really ground the Bills into the turf, didn't they?
Well, I'm more of a baseball fan, but that is pretty impressive, I have to say. My name is Boyle. I'm a private investigator looking into the disappearance of Eve Holiday.
Name's Corky. Nice to make your acquaintance. It's a shame the situation with Miss Holiday. Hope she turns up soon. Alive would be nice. She's a good kid. Always stops by to pick up the latest movie magazines.
You're out here close to the front of the club most of the time. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary over the past few days?
Only that the cabbie that usually drops off Miss Holiday every evening has been coming to the club as a patron the past couple of nights.
Do you happen to know this fellow's name?
Sorry, no, but maybe he'll be back tonight.
Thanks, Corky. Merry Christmas. I slipped him a couple bucks. Corky may not have known the name of the cab driver, but I know someone who did. It was time to head back to Eve's apartment building to have a talk with Donnie the doorman. Hello again, Donnie.
Hi, Mr. Boyle. Any news about Eve?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
What do you mean, Mr. Boyle?
I need the name of the cab driver you mentioned when we last spoke. Apparently he's visiting the Fluff Club as a customer since Eve has been missing.
Maybe he's always been a regular.
Not according to a source I have that keeps a pretty close eye on who goes in and out of the place.
Well, that's odd then, I guess.
I need his name and a physical description.
Carl. I don't know his last name.
What's he look like?
Skinny fella, black hair, lots of teeth.
Do you know anything about him personally?
Not really.
You got a phone number on him? An address, maybe?
Just a number of the cab company.
I'll take it. Thanks. I decided to head back to my office to check if any calls came in. After that, I planned on going back over to the Fluff Club that night to see if this Carl showed up again. Things were getting interesting. Any calls while I was out?
Yes, President Truman called. He lost his library card, and you know how much he loves to read.
Call him back and let him know that I'm busy until after the first of the year.
Are you anywhere near wrapping this up, Archie? Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, you know.
I have a hunch that we're very close.
Swell. Maybe there'll be a little Christmas cash in our stockings this year?
My hunch pays off, and yes.
Now, don't make promises you can't keep.
I only do that with women I'm dating.
When was the last time you had a date?
Let's see. This is December. Then that would be August 1946.
Wow, you're a regular Frank Sinatra.
You spoiled all other women for me, Penny.
Take it easy, Blue Eyes. I only fall for tough guys.
Tough as nails. That's me.
More tough like a cheap cut of steak.
Ouch. Can you get Antoine on the phone for me? I want him to meet me at the Fluff Club tonight.
Sure thing, tough guy.
Antoine and I got to the club about 7 o'clock. The show started at 8. We figured if this Carl the cabbie showed up, we could have a little chit-chat with him before he went in. We hung around Corky's newsstand to make sure we had a positive ID. Skinny fella, black hair, lots of teeth. Is that him?
That's him.
Excuse me, fella.
Yeah?
We'd like to have a word with you.
About what?
My name is Boyle. I'm a private investigator. This is Antoine Penniman, also a PI.
I didn't do nothing.
We didn't say you did.
What are you doing here tonight?
I'm coming to see the show. It's a free country, ain't it?
Listen, Carl.
How do you know my name?
You're the cabbie that picked up Eve Holiday every night to bring her to the club, aren't you?
What of it?
Until she disappeared, that is.
I told you, I didn't do nothing.
We also know that you weren't a patron of this fine establishment till Eve went missing. Care to explain?
I'm just here to see a friend.
Doris Capito?
Say, what is all this?
What's your relationship with Miss Capito?
Like I said, she's a friend.
A girlfriend?
Listen, you're not cops. I didn't do nothing and I don't feel like talking. If you want answers, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Oh yeah? Who should we be talking to then?
Donnie. He's the doorman at Eve's apartment building.
So it was back to Donnie again. Antoine and I headed straight over to Eve's apartment building on Wilshire. Hopefully that lobby lark would start singing if we put a little bebop in his birdseed. Whatever that means.
Mr. Boyle, you're back so soon.
Donnie, this is Private Investigator Antoine Penniman. He's been working this case with me.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Penniman.
Donnie, I have this sneaking suspicion that you haven't been totally honest with me.
Why's that, Mr. Boyle?
We had a little chat with Carl the cabbie. He said we should be talking to you.
I could see Donnie was starting to get nervous. This isn't looking so good for you, Donnie. You seem to know all the players in this game. If not personally, then certainly by name and reputation. I have a feeling you know exactly what happened to Eve.
You don't want to spend Christmas behind bars, do you, Donnie?
Behind bars?
There aren't any chimneys in jail, Donnie. Santa might have a hard time finding you.
Jail?
Of course, I could bring your stocking full of coal to you personally. But more importantly, the baby Jesus will be very upset when he finds out you've been lying to me.
The baby Jesus?
Me and him are pals. Now, I could put in a good word for you, but you're not being straight with me.
It's time to come clean, Donnie. You got Eve on ice somewhere? Kidnapping is a serious matter. Murder is even worse.
Donnie looked like his head was going to explode.
Murder?
So what's it going to be, Donnie? Truth or dare? You better start telling me the truth, or I dare say things are going to get real bad real fast.
Let's just take him down to the station now, Arch. He'll keep until Detective Stone can get to him tomorrow.
That did it. Donnie opened up like a can of sardines. Let me lay this out for you. Donnie was stammering so badly you never understand him. The night at the Frolic Room was too much for Eve to take. She saw Caparazzo and Milligan go at each other just as the cab was pulling away. When she got back to her place, she went down to the lobby to talk to Donnie. She said she needed to get away for a few days, that the pressure was too much. She asked him if he had any ideas. He told her that he has an uncle who owns a cottage in Venice Beach. He was out of town until after the holidays, and Donnie was pretty sure he'd let her use the place for a few nights. He arranged for Carl to pick Eve up after her lunch with May's son in Chinatown and take her to his uncle's place. Donnie borrowed some luggage from a friend and told Eve to just take a few things, so if anyone went sniffing around her place, it wouldn't look like she had packed up and left town. Not only that, Doris Capito was dating Carl the cab driver. She had been working on Eve for a while, trying to convince her that Joe Caparazzo wasn't treating her the way he should, and that she ought to take a few days off to think about her situation. With Eve gone, Doris could then possibly slide in as a replacement singer and jumpstart her career. So the bottom line is there was no crime committed, just a string of decisions and deceptions that, thank God, didn't waste the resources of LAPD. Or you can bet that Police Chief Horrell would have had someone's head on a stick. I called Joe Caparazzo as soon as I knew that Eve was safe and sound. I also called Mike Milligan. They were both so relieved that they decided to call a truce. Eve made it home that afternoon. I personally escorted her to the Fluff Club a couple of hours before the Christmas Eve show. Caparazzo greeted her with open arms and a big raise. He knew she was worth it. Doris Capito quit her job at the Fluff Club coat check room and got a job singing at the Bounce Lounge. Apparently, she wasn't half bad. Caparazzo was happy, Milligan was happy, and Eve was happy. Kind of like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I guess it's true. There's no place like home. Oh, and I was happy too. Caparazzo was true to his word about the generous monetary compensation. It was more than enough to keep me and Penny in the black until well after the holidays. And Antoine got a nice chunk of change as well. We all met at the club for the 8 o'clock show. Caparazzo, Milligan, me, Penny, Antoine, his girl Anita, May's son, Doris Capito, Carl, Detective Stone, and Donnie. Although I had to smack Donnie around a little bit to teach him a lesson. And boy, did Eve Holiday deliver. How about we go slumming after the show? We could head over to the Frolic Room for a final nightcap.
Sounds swell.
What are you up to tomorrow?
I thought I might just walk around downtown and window shop. How about you?
I thought I might ask my secretary if she'd like to come over for drinks, Chinese food, and to listen to the Sinatra Bing Crosby Christmas radio show.
I held my breath.
I guess I've had worse Christmases. Sounds okay to me, tough guy.
Thank you, baby Jesus. Happy birthday. And Merry Christmas.
Days of yore, faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to